One of the things it gives me a great pleasure to introduce right now, Darren mentored John, and John has put together a truly beautiful piece for us today. Yeah, I'll let him talk the rest, and I'll be back on with him afterwards to have a conversation. Yay! Round of applause.
I owe you £5. Hi, everyone. So mine isn't really a talk, it's more of a tribute. And I suppose just my plan is that there's lots of things I want to say, but from my heart, there's lots that I hope to say. So just to give a little, thanks, Jeffrey. Just to give a little bit of context, back in my whole life before I met Darren, I was a plumber, which a lot of people might say, good job, great, what's wrong with that? I mean, it was probably nothing really wrong with it other than the fact that I was actually a really, really bad plumber. And I actually flooded more houses than houses I fixed. To the point of I served my time for 7 years, never qualified officially through college. And my wife calls a real plumber every time there's something wrong in our house. When I first met Darren, I'd launched this social movement called Suspended Coffees, where you could buy a cup of coffee as a gesture of goodwill or a means to pay it forward to another human being as an act of kindness. Now, I really didn't have a clue what it was I was doing, and Darren was connected to me through mutual friends. Straight away, what stood out for me in the first few emails before I ever spoke to him was, one, how much he loved his family was the first thing that stood out to me. And secondly, how much he believed in kindness. After the first day that I spoke with Darren, he said to me, John, you're the definition of mad. And I said, who the fuck is this fella? And I realized that MAD actually stood for Make a Difference. Darren believed in me in a way that changed my life. He wasn't the first person that ever believed in me. He was the first person that ever made me believe in myself. So when I heard about this conference, there was a new opportunity after coming into my life that I just know Darren would have loved. So, long story, which I can tell you about another time, but I managed to get somebody who believes in me enough to give me $500,000 to spread acts of kindness over the next 2 years. And that's because of Darren. That is because of Darren. So in typical fashion for me, I like to pretend like I know what I'm doing. So I said, co-founder for what we're doing, it's called Drop Dead Generous. We're going to give people $500 over the next 2 years to do an act of kindness in a creative, powerful, impactful way. And the whole premise is that if you can do an act of kindness, watch it spread. And as Darren always said about loving acts of kindness, this is pretty much it. So I thought best way to honor Darren was to do what any normal person would do. Get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, go to a park in London, ask your friend Tom to film you while you sit in a bench, asking strangers to talk about grief and to talk about death. Terrible idea. Bar the squirrels, pigeons, and one incredibly kind lady, nobody really spoke to me. But some amazing things happened. And I've tried to document it, which from the video, which you can all watch now, will probably explain a little bit more of my madness. But I just want to apologize firstly, because some of the quality of the video is actually a little bit dodgy because, as I said, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I messed up sound and one or two bits, but it was put together with nothing but love for Darren, his family, and everyone in this room and everyone connected to Mo. So if you can play that video.
It started with an idea to honour Darren, a man who's changed John's life. At 6 a.m. we went to a park in London to reflect on grief and ask strangers to share their experiences.
Every squirrel I've ever met has run away from me.
Hello. This here is Samantha. On her early morning walk, she stopped by, sat down with an open mind and spoke with an open heart. From behind the camera, I could see John was nervous, but he handled it wonderfully.
It's really nice to meet you.
It's really nice to meet you.
What would you say to somebody who's struggling with grief? What advice would you give?
They talked and smiled over separate yet shared memories, but as their conversation came to an end, Samantha left and no one took her place. Just a pigeon or two keeping an Irishman happy. It had been a tough morning, truth be told, and I felt for John. He felt a pressure to honour Darren, and I felt his pressure too. So we packed up and headed into town to embrace Darren's philosophy of making a difference through small acts. And the next few hours were amazing.
So if I give you £50 to go and do something drop dead generous right now, will you go and do it, whatever it is, and come back to me and tell me what you did?
Yeah.
That was Ella, but there was also Simona and Karina over here from New Zealand. There was Bill and Janet from the States, and a small handful of strangers dubiously taking on this little experiment of ours. John was happy, but still nervous.
Say something funny. I don't smile for free. Tell you what, give me £50.
Because would anyone come back?
I'm back.
Tell me about what happened.
Okay, so I went around the corner very close to my friend in a panic that I got myself into a situation I didn't know what to do with it. And then I put the phone away and calmed down a bit.
Ella, like everybody else, didn't just come back to us. They came back to us happier than when they'd left. For giving something away. In each of their own ways, they'd made a difference to someone, and in doing so, had made a difference within themselves. And the ripple effect just kept going.
I intercepted people's order at Pret, and I paid for some lunches at Pret, which went down really nicely, so I was very excited. And then I crossed over to Starbucks, and I bought some coffees with people. And then I went to Costa Coffee, and bought some more coffees, and then I asked this homeless guy what he wanted, and I bought him lunch. And then I was £2 short in thingy, so I paid my own money to top it up. And then the person behind Costa thought it was really generous, so she gave me a free coffee.
No way.
So if you'd like a coffee, there's also a coffee.
When Ella came back and gave me that coffee, it wasn't just about the drink. It was a reflection of Darren's philosophy that kindness, once planted, ripples out in ways we can't always see. That small act from Ella was a reminder of how one moment can spark something much bigger. Darren taught me that it's not about waiting for the perfect moment to make a difference. It's about planting that seed of kindness, right here, right now.
So just before I get John to come to my rescue, there might be a bit of context missing in some of that video, which we'll talk about now. But I'd just like to kind of leave you with this. I met Darren about 10 years ago, never qualified at anything in my life. And he said to me, John, I wanna give you the gift of coaching. And I was like, oh my God, I've never wanted anything more in my life. And when I got off the phone from him, the first thing I did was Google, what is coaching? Sorry. The second thing I did was give him my passport number because he booked the flights. He flew me over and he gifted me my accreditation. And I remember the day that I qualified and got my cert. It was the first time I ever qualified at anything. And I stood on the 17th floor of Citibank and I cried like a baby because I never felt such a sense of achievement. Now, the part of that that's true is the fact that I cried. The part that's fake is that it was the 17th floor because Darren told me to be always creative when you're telling stories. It was the 15th floor, but it doesn't sound as good. So I just want to say that the big thing from Darren that he brought me into his home, brought me into his family. He always said to me, John, you have to believe in people even when they don't believe in themselves. And you have to use kindness as a method to change the world. And I have to just really quickly before you clap, and I want that clap. Just two people I have to really acknowledge, and everyone here is amazing, but two people in particular. One is my co-founder, Tom. He's never met Darren, right? And Tom asked me not to point him out, so I'm not going to do that, Tom. But he never met Darren, but as soon as I told him about Darren and the impact that he had on me, he was like, we just got to do this. And it was the first thing we've done since we started this project. The second thing that I have to say is this man here is just an incredible human being. As soon as I went to him with the idea, and trust me, there was no method to my madness. There was no plan. I even rang him on the day of like when we were out in London. I was like, John, I don't know what's happening. But like I'm gonna keep doing shit. And like, do you know, I'm gonna keep you close. And he believed in me every step of the way, just like his brother. And I think if there's one thing I ask you all to take away, is if you can believe in one person from here on in, if you can nudge someone towards Mo, if you can support Mo in some way, shape, or form, that's the biggest and most impactful way that we can all continue on Darren's legacy. Thank you all.
It's so beautiful to talk to John leading up to his venture to London and the day, and one of the questions that often comes up after watching is, what happens to the other 5 people? Do you want to talk about that?
So funny story, right? So basically, when everything went wrong in the park, I was like, or what I thought went wrong. Sorry. Oh, watch it, don't fall off. Yeah. Be a nice icebreaker. Basically, in the park, when I felt like everything was going wrong, I felt huge pressure. And Tom was like, "It's okay, just take a minute, think about what you want to do." And so I started reading emails from Darren, all emails, messages that I got from him, and it was like kept saying like connect the dots, loving kindness and mad make a difference. So I was like to Tom, let's just go stone mad and give people money. And Tom was like, okay. Let's just give people £50. So the whole idea was we were going to get people. So I stood in the middle of Carnaby Street with a sign that said mystery experiment, gave them no context of anything, told them nothing about Darren, but the mission was to show if you believe in people, without telling them anything, the best will happen. So I was under pressure here now to pull this off. So I was like, okay, camera, tripod, mystery experiment sign. First person comes up, what are you doing? I was like, oh, we're doing this thing, drop dead generous. And Tom was like, give them the money. Give them the money, John. So I was like, I've never really had money in my life. Handing £50 over, I was very conflicted. And I was like, what if people don't come back? And Tom said, that's perfectly okay. It's actually, if they don't come back, then that's the right thing. So one by one, we get people £50, 6 different people, one of whom was this young kid. I just knew he wasn't going to be back. He heard me and Tom. Yeah, you know. He heard me and Tom talk about what we were talking about, saw Tom give me £50, and I was like, no, I really can't give it to him because it's Darren's legacy, and if he doesn't come back, this is bad. And Tom was there, no, but what you've said to me is believe in people. That's what Darren said to you. So gave him the £50, off he went, and off he came back and told us the story in a completely different energy of how he bought coffee for this person in a cafe, then put more money behind it. Then people in the cafe saw him doing it, so they bought more coffee. And then the owner was so inspired that they started to give away free coffees, and it started to ripple out across several streets of London, to the point of it was so powerful. Me and Tom were stood in the street, and this one lady came up and she said, "Are you guys the reason why I got this free coffee?" And we're like, I don't know. It mightn't be anything to do with us. And she was there. You know what? I think it was ye. And I know this mightn't mean much, but this has changed my whole experience of London. I've never seen London like this. And it actually feels quite nice now, she said. And one by one, more and more people came back and told us their stories of what they did. One lady went and gave money to a guy who was cleaning the streets, who literally was overcome with emotion because he said never in his 60 or 50 years on this earth has anyone ever given him anything. And he asked her why. And she said, because I wanted to just pass on kindness. So loads of more amazing things happened, and they all did some just really, really beautiful things. Ella was one of the people that we kind of picked out, but they were all very special. And I think the big thing was, like for me, that all 6 came back, but really and truthfully, it didn't matter if they came back or not. And the fact that it rippled out into so many different places was, again, a testament to Darren's belief that if you believe in people, no matter what, not going, I believe in you, but if you just believe in them, let them go, let them do, and see what happens.
So beautiful, isn't it? Isn't that such a beautiful story? Before Jane puts out the car, we've
Have we, John? I forgot. Oh, yeah, I'm only, I'm only messing. Yeah. Do you like that one, Tony? I know you'd like that one. I think, look, just as an opportunity to further Darren's legacy. So we did this experiment. So obviously our whole premise is giving away $500 for someone to be, to be kind. So be imaginative, creative. Think about an individual that you'd be kind to. Think about what they're going through and think about what you could do. So a few people in your life that you can think of like that, then I want you to send us your idea. So I'm very sorry now that we can only probably support 3 ideas. But what I would say to you is there's probably people in the room who could collaborate on an idea, come together in Darren's memory, and just think about the biggest impact that you can have. And it's not a big, huge thing where they have to start crying on the 16th or 20th floor of Citibank. It can be just something really small and powerful. And just submit your idea. There's little cards inside in your goodie bags. Scan a code, fill out a type form. You'll get in touch with me. And basically anyone that we can support with an idea who wants to continue Darren's legacy, we'd be more than happy to do that. And I think for me, the exercise that I tried to do, I centered it around coaching, because Darren gave me the gift of coaching. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be open. I'm going to ask people questions. And then I realized I forgot everything else about how coaching works. So I'm just going to talk to people. But I would encourage you to be creative, whether it's around coaching, no matter what it is, just use it as an opportunity to connect the dots in Darren's legacy and just do an act of kindness. So yeah, any questions or anything else, just shout away. But again, I have to say, John, just incredible human being. You are, all of you are, America, every one of you, Sue, the whole lot. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be stood here and to be able, actually, even though everyone back home is like, John has no money, don't believe him, he can't give you nothing, because I've been broke all my life. But Darren always told me, if you love what you do enough, you can make money doing it. Now I'm giving money away, like so, but like, he was nearly right. So, was that a number one? There's a number 2 missing in the room that this lady has a sign for. Is anybody called number 2? Is that what? Sorry.
Get those applications in.
Yeah. And just say I met Jeffrey. How many was it at the last MOE conference? 2016. And how are you looking younger than like back in 2016? One funny story I'll leave you with, and I'll be gone then. It's about Darren. So the first MOE conference, Darren asked me to help him with the marketing because he reckoned I was a marketing genius. It's like he was wrong about some things. We said we'd do a Facebook Live through Suspended Coffees because I had a couple of 100,000 followers. So during we were getting set up for the Facebook Live, and Darren was behind the phone. He was getting ready, and we started chatting and I was saying to him my wife Erin started giving out to me yesterday over something stupid. I don't know why. I really think the coaching would be good for her. Darren was like, oh, I can bring her over. It'll help. It'll be so good for her. And I was like, yeah, she mightn't be so cross or whatever. Then I looked at the phone and I see in the comments, John, you're dead. We'd gone live on Facebook to 10,000 people and had a conversation about my wife giving out to me. So I blame Darren for that, I will say. So yeah, and thanks again, everyone. It was really a pleasure.
I find that John has that impact on everyone. He just comes, he's himself, and he lights up the room. So thank you again, John. Can we give him another round of applause? Yeah.